Welcome everybody to another edition of Ahysen Nation. How are you? I'm Johnny Ahysen and we are live on another edition of Ahysen Nation. It is Tuesday the 12th and another hot, humid day. And I'm so excited she was able to get out and about and come because of her schedule. She's so very popular now. Susanne Duplantis used to be on with us with Makeover My Leftover. You saw the segment for many, many years here on WAFB, and she has now moved into another realm. She is now a book author.
Published author, yes.
A published book author, and I love the title of the book, Lagniappe Leftovers. We have the book right here. She's got a copy that she's gonna hopefully autograph for me. We're gonna go ahead and pop this on the air and let people see it. There it is. Look at that! Congratulations!
Yes, thank you, thank you. It's modeled after an old, as you can see, ice box. So that's what I like people to think outside the ice box.
Listen to that. Now I do have to say too that in the acknowledgments you acknowledged, and you can't read this, but I'm going to show you one you can read. In the acknowledgments, you acknowledged our very own, bless her heart, Lauren Westbrook.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I started my blog in the end of 2014, and it was probably about a month after I started my blog where I got a call from her that somebody had seen the blog and told her about it, and she wanted to do it for one of her brand new segments called Money Mondays back in the day, and I actually did 2 segments for her. So they came, I set up in the house, they came with all the cameras, they did it, and just, of course, her personality and everything is amazing and bubbly, made me feel at ease. And she started something great because I fell in love with the TV bug then.
Well, and you're great on it. I mean,
Yeah,
you're very
thank you.
personable. The camera likes you very much.
Thanks.
Tell me, first of all, Susanne. Susanne. And she's got a website, makeovermyleftover.com. We'll show it to you in a minute. Tell me a little about your background, what got you into making over leftovers, and what eventually led to what is becoming a very successful book. So
Yes,
just talk
absolutely.
a little bit about, if you wouldn't mind, the history of you.
The history of me. Well, I say I grew up on a step stool in my Mima's kitchen because she loved the kitchen. That was her happy place, so that became my happy place with her. Either we were in the kitchen or we were on her front porch on a swing talking about the next thing we were going to eat or cook. But she valued food, and so if she had something left over from breakfast and went into lunch, lunch went into dinner, and down the line, nothing was ever wasted. No, nothing was ever too small. Even the tomatoes, we would dry the seeds and plant the seeds back. So it was really, so I always was instilled in that, the value of food from her. And then flash forward years later, in my late teens, early 20s, I got my first restaurant job. Fell in love with the industry, worked my way up quickly from server to assistant manager, and then general manager, and then ended up in the kitchen later on as catering director. But I fell in love with the food industry, but that also opened my eyes to the amount of food waste from the back of the house to the front of the house. And actually 55% of restaurant leftovers go to waste.
Wait a minute, that's too high a percentage. What?
55%.
Now, is that stuff that's left on people's plates
Right.
or something else?
That's just restaurant leftovers that people refuse to take home. 55% of leftovers go to waste. So you think about the $15 entree salad you're having at lunch. How much are you leaving on the plate there? And start calculating it.
For $15, I'm not leaving much. I'm going to take it in a box.
Yeah, nowadays it's probably not that big. But just seeing that, so I started actually, if we were slow or something on Friday night, I'd walk through and I'd offer somebody a to-go box for the French fries. And a lot of times the usual response is, I don't like cold French fries. They're not going to be good reheated.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. French fries in the air fryer brings them back to life.
Thanks for air fryer. Thanks for saying that. I do mention that in the book now for fried food. It does great. But then we didn't have the air fryers, and even now, I'd go in the back and write a quick recipe on top of the to-go box saying, okay, take these French fries home, and you can have great potato pancakes in the morning. Top it with a sunny side egg, or have it for lunch, a little chili and cheese on it, or a side for dinner with sour cream and onion. So a little bit of French fries can go a long way, and I have quite a few recipes for leftover French fries in my book.
Yeah, it's so funny because I'll stand in front of the refrigerator at 5:30 in the afternoon and I'll go, what am I going to eat? And I do have different things that, not necessarily from restaurants, but like on the 4th of July, I had a group over on Sunday the 3rd, and everybody brought a little something, but nobody wanted to take it home. I ate on their leftovers thanks to you, and got creative. I didn't have the book yet, but thanks to you and what you shared with us on TV in the many years you've been doing this, I had some very creative breakfasts.
I love that. Very good.
Very
excellent.
breakfast.
Excellent. Yeah. And I have actually, you think about 4th of July, I have 10 ways to use up leftover baked beans. So, I mean, and when you're using leftovers, like I'm sure when you were standing in the refrigerator, you have to really break down what you're looking at, the leftovers, but break it down to the key ingredient that it is. So, if you're looking at French fries, okay, that's potatoes. That's kind of an easy one. But, you're looking at barbecue chicken. Well, think about everything you could possibly have with barbecue chicken on it and breaking it down. Back years ago, deconstructed dishes were all the rage at all these fancy restaurants. And that's kind of how you have to look at leftovers, is just breaking it down to the basic ingredients and using it just like that.
It's really interesting you mentioned that because we had some chicken breasts that we had put on the grill on July 3rd, and I took the leftover chicken breast and zapped them in a Cuisinart and put a little mustard and mayonnaise and some pickle relish in it and an egg, a hard-boiled egg in the Cuisinart, and I made myself a chicken salad sandwich, and it was delicious.
Awesome. And so you must have gotten that little hint from me all those years here,
thank you.
because a mini food processor, and I even mentioned it in my book, is definitely a must-have to have in the kitchen to repurpose leftovers. Just like that, you made an incredible chicken salad, and you whizzed it up pretty quickly, I'm sure.
I did. It took no time at all, and I actually had enough for 2 sandwiches out of 2 chicken breasts, and it was pretty. I don't like a little tiny bit of stuff on your sandwich. I want it fat.
You got to feel it when you're going in for it. Yeah, I agree.
So that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get into some of these, first of all, some of the artwork for your book. This is so interesting, and you've got a story behind some of this artwork as well, as far as who was your artist.
Well, this is, Baton Rouge is really lucky to have the most talented illustrator and portrait artist. He's here, Dr. Tom Quaid. He's a retired cardiologist, and his business is Heart to Art. And talk about a busy man. He is very busy. I was so thankful and lucky to have him not only illustrate my book, but he also designed the cover of the book as well. So it's really a retro old style refrigerator and everything like that he designed. But just the detail of his sketches are unbelievable. And just the vision that I had for my book, I wanted my book to be reminiscent of a vintage style cookbook. And he really helped bring that to life with his chapter sketches on there and the amount of details in it, where you really get the feeling, this is, of course, he did my logo when I started my blog for Make Over My Leftover, and that's my logo that he did. And then the other one is the introduction chapter with the refrigerator, when I'm trying to get everybody to think outside the icebox. And I wish I could look like that sketch every day.
But you do. But you told me you fell in love with what? The Pelotron? What?
The Nordic, I have my Nordic Track bike. Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's
Right.
that's my
'Cause
addiction.
I've always admired the fact that you've always kept your weight at a very healthy, weight for your height and things like that.
Thank
Something that I'm challenged with, and I keep teasing people that yeah, well, look where I live. Everything begins with first you start with a roux, and they were going, excuse, that's an excuse.
Yeah, and fried, and a lot of times on the blog people say, well, how do you say so, trim when you have all these like fried sweet potato casserole donuts or fried lasagna bites? It's pretty much when you see that picture and there's just a couple of them there, that's pretty much what I made, which is the beauty of leftovers, because if you do have a little bit of something, you can turn it into a little bit of something else.
I have a few more pictures here that I wanted to share with our audience, and you can tell us a little about this. This is you stirring what looks like a crawfish boil.
I don't think that needs any explanation whatsoever. That's me boiling up the crawfish. I am a endurance crawfish eater. I talk about it in the book. I won my first crawfish eating contest when I was in 8th grade, and I was the only girl. I am pretty much the last one at the table when it comes to crawfish eating. It's my dad, who unfortunately just passed last month. He used to make money on me when, on his daughter. At crawfish, throw somebody up there and say, I bet you my daughter can out-eat your husband or out-eat your boyfriend. And he won a lot. Are
you allowed in Breaux Bridge? Have they kicked you out of the city of Breaux Bridge yet?
Yeah, it's been years since I've been able to get back to the crawfish festival there. Yeah, so I do it. But I don't volunteer to throw them in the pot. As long as somebody else gets them going for me, I'm good. But I'm the first to take them out and get that nice steam facial there.
Can you do a crawfish boil if you needed to?
Oh yeah, I could do it. I could do it.
All right, let's see. Let's go to another picture here.
Oh, look at that cute little girl.
That's so precious. Now, who is this with you?
That is me and my mom, and that is a picture at my Mima's house. And Mima, her white beans were my absolute favorite thing in the world. I actually had my own white bean bowl, because when she made the white beans, I'd have my own special little bowl. And so that was me, holiday time, and you could see the smile on my face, how happy I was to have the bowl of beans right in front of me.
So food's been, a staple in your life, like you said, forever.
Forever, yeah. I mean, I'm reading, dreaming, cooking, planning something about food. Yeah, it's all about the food.
Let's see. We have another picture here. This has got to be, is this your dad?
No, that's my Pawsy, my grandfather, and that's my brother Richard. And it's a good thing turkeys come with 2 drumsticks, because I don't know what would have happened, because there we were waiting to steal our drumstick. We each got a drumstick. So luckily it was just the 2 of us and no other kids. We had to fight for the 2 drumsticks. And that is from a chapter, To Mima's House We Go. It's not over the river and through the hills. It's more like over the levee and across the neutral ground, because I grew up in New Orleans. And so that's into Mima's House We Go, and that's all my holiday classics chapter there. And of course the turkey carcass gumbo, which you see in the carcass there. And my Pawsy was the carver. Now if he put down the carving just for a second, his knife and his fork, that by no means meant that anybody could go and touch it. He was just taking a break and he'd come right back.
What year was that about?
That had to be, I'm looking at me, that had to be about oh gosh, you're going to make me say my age. That was probably about 1975, 76.
Okay, yeah, early 70s or mid 70s.
Because you can see the 7-Up dispenser in the back of the picture there, which is hilarious.
What I was looking at. It's like, my gosh. Here's another one. This is a kind of cool picture.
So this is, I have a chapter called Lanyap, where it's all the recipes that really mean something special to me. And this is my Mima's pudding in the clouds he used to make. Now, the funny thing about this picture is that my brother is there sharing the lanyap of the chocolate pudding in the bottom of the bowl. That's something that was a rarity, because the pudding in the cloud was something my Mima and I did. So this had to be some day that we were off of school or something, and I didn't have a choice to share. But you could see I'm enjoying my chocolate pudding, but knowing I'm going to have a little less there with my brother.
Oh my gosh, how much fun. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up on the West Bank.
You just said in New Orleans. The West Bank.
The West Bank.
Okay.
Yep.
The best bank?
The best bank. When I was little, yeah, we always said that. It was the best bank. Gretna, Algiers, New Orleans on that side. And they lived right close to the levee on the Mississippi, so we'd always walk over there. And, just having all the fresh produce that they grew there and just going out and harvesting. The last recipe in my book is my Mima's Mukshu, which is smothered corn, because that one is just, not only is Mukshu so versatile where you can use just about anything, andouille, bacon, shrimp, keep it vegetarian with zucchini and squash, but just the versatility of using all those things and then using all the corn cob, the husk, the silk, which a lot of people don't realize. really goes back to that true lesson that my Meemaw taught me. And so that was very important. Not only did I dedicate the book to her, but that was absolutely the last recipe in my book.
How do you use a corn the husk and the cob and all of that?
Well, you know, the corn cob makes a great stock. You just throw it in water, cover it with water, add a little bay leaves, peppercorns, reduce it down, and it makes your house smell like wonderful popcorn, better than the movie theater, just butter popcorn smell, reducing it down. But you get this beautiful golden stock to use. And then you do the same thing separate with the husk and the silk to make the stock. And that stock comes out a little bit smoky flavor. So if you're making like a mushroom soup or Mexican soups, it really adds a lot to it. And then even the husk, I like to use them. You just barbecued for the 4th and that. I'll take them, soak them in some beer, maybe some wine, blot them dry, and then wrap sausage and hot dog, almost like you would a banana leaf, and throw that on the grill. And it just, you get so much flavor there. It can help steam it, but you're also getting the grilling marks on there.
That is so fascinating to me. What is one of the biggest misconceptions people have about leftovers, either things that they've cooked the night before or taken home from a restaurant?
You know, it's leftovers. A lot of people look at it with this negative connotation that it's something left over, which it is. So I try to let people think, let's not look at them as leftovers. Let's look at them as start overs, because they're going to give us a shortcut. So it's almost like some of your prep work is already done for the next meal. So 1, you're saving time there. 2, you're saving money. And 3, most importantly, you're saving food as well. So it's all about recreating your vision of how you're looking at leftovers. So they're not leftovers, they're start overs.
Start over. Well, that's kind of what I did with the with the chicken breasts on, for that. But okay, so give me some baked bean idea, because we had a lot of baked beans left over, and I wasn't very creative with that at all.
Baked bean it would have been a super shortcut to make a chili, of course, like for hot dogs and that, just right there. I love baked beans doing up with onions and the cheese and that on a baked potato. I also have fried baked bean balls that I do, and I'll even use Doritos or something like that to coat them in and fry them up. Those are good. But also beans. Break down baked beans. What are they? They're beans. So what about a bean burger? You could have made a great baked bean burger there as well.
Here, I'm going to tell you, I don't know who brought them, but these baked beans had the syrup in it and the brown sugar, and I mean, it was so unhealthy.
Yeah, and we have great steams here in Louisiana, and
Yes.
I'm sure that was in there. That makes
exactly
it the best.
what
And
it
a little
tasted
dry
like.
mustard. I love putting a little dry mustard in my baked beans when I do it as well.
How long will a leftover be good in the refrigerator?
You know, it always depends on what the leftover is, because some have more of a refrigerator life than other ones. And of course, the whole adage, when in doubt, throw out,
Right.
when it comes down to it. But I like to see, it depends what it is, 3 to 5 days. Of course, some things some things taste better the next day. So, of course, these recipes in this book are all about the classic Southern dishes you can't make a small pot of: jambalaya, gumbo, red beans and rice. So, of course, you want to eat that the next day, because come on, the flavors in red beans and rice the next day are great. But what about the next day when your family's like, oh, red beans again? What are you going to do? That's the time when you pull out the book and it's like, okay, well, let's take those red beans and make coconut curry red beans over cashew rice cakes, or let's make some spicy red bean steam buns. That's when you pull it out.
That is fascinating, and it's so exciting. Where can we get your book? I know you got a book signing coming up, right?
I do. I'm very excited about the book signing. It's going to be at Barnes & Noble on July 23rd from 2 to 4. And in that one, the reason why you should make that Barnes & Noble trip is because my illustrator, Dr. Tom Quaid, is going to be there. And my autograph may not worth much, but his is definitely worth a lot of money. So you definitely got to come and see us there on July 24th, Barnes & Noble, Perkins Row, from 2 to 4.
He might be. He might have some former patients. You said he's a retired cardiologist.
Retired cardiologist here in Baton Rouge. Absolutely.
So Barnes and Noble, July
23rd, 2 to 4.
All right. And is this available online?
It is on Amazon Prime Days today. Of course, you can go to Amazon and get it. You could also Barnes & Noble, your local bookstores, and also Walmart online as well. Or you can actually go to my website too, makeovermyleftover.com.
Now, I love this. I didn't get a tight shot of this like I did some of your other pictures, but this is in register. Let's see if I can do this.
Newsstands right now.
I don't want to put it in front of your face, but they're on newsstands right now and in register, and they have a wonderful layout. I'm going to let you kind of hold it to where we can see it in this camera shot there. A wonderful layout, lagniappe leftovers, and second helpings. Susanne Duplantis' new book puts Louisiana leftovers in the limelight.
And the thing that I love also about the wonderful article that they did was they actually did the potato pancakes from leftover French fries here in the back as well.
I'll be darned. That is great.
That is great.
But yeah, you can put the, I put French fries in the, I got to get away from the fried foods, and I was just telling you, I just joined the Y again, and it's just a mess. As you get older, and I'm a lot older than you, it's hard to take the weight off. So it's best to keep it off, as you've done over the years. But with food prices and gasoline prices, now more than ever, you need to know how to be creative about leftovers instead of tossing them in the garbage.
Right. And the thing that I've always done on my blog, I have a section called To Cook is to Create. That's my motto, to cook is to create. So in this book, when I have the recipe, say for coconut curry red beans, I have on there, okay, if you don't have this ingredient, and my To Cook is to Create, I'll give you options. Well, if you don't have this, how about this? If you don't have this ingredient, use this. So the key about that is I don't want people to run out to the grocery store and buy these ingredients that they don't need. Let's use already what you have in your kitchen, in your pantry and that. Just for instance, by using the alcohol in a recipe, I give you a non-alcoholic choice to go back and use there as well. And in the introduction, I really have how to set your kitchen up to get the most use of your kitchen. From the inventories to keep to basic staple ingredients that you should always have on hand, that really makes repurposing leftovers easy.
Tell us a little about the chapter heading titles.
Okay. Well, this is all classic Louisiana, so it's in a lot of me. It's my story. This is me in the book. I have a lot of stories in here. So first, I have Big Fun on the Bayou. So that's your jambalaya, your etouffee, and your gumbo. One of my husband's favorite recipes. If you would ask him the favorite recipe in the book, he would say gumbo sloppy joes would be his. And the wonderful thing about that is you're taking the last cup of gumbo, which you could be, hog it and just eat it by yourself. Or for under $10, you can add a few ingredients and feed a family of 4 with that 1 cup of gumbo. So that's probably his favorite. Then I have Louisiana Seafood Saturday Night, which is from all the classic crawfish boils, like you saw in my picture, shrimp boils, to also fried seafood, your leftover fried catfish, fried oysters, fried shrimp. That's where the French fries are in that chapter. And then It's a Southern Thing, special to me just because red beans and rice would probably be my last meal if I had a last meal. So that's a special chapter for me. But that's all your grits, beans, and rice. And I mean, leftover rice, I never can get the gumbo and rice ratio right when I cook it at my house. I always have leftover rice. So the great thing about leftover rice is it's that plain, just ready to go blank slate that you can add so much flavors in there. So I turn it into a wild rice, a coconut raisin rice in here. And then I have Picnic in the Park, Comfort Food and Beyond. So when I was little, City Park picnics were huge. That was the biggest thing. So I write about that. And I knew if there was ever a thermos at the end of the picnic table, then that meant we had company coming, because that meant it was chili and hot dogs in that thermos. So that was like a huge thing.
In a tall thermos?
In a tall thermos. It keeps it hot. It was great. I mean, Mom, however she came up with that back in the day. But yeah, that was a brilliant idea.
Great idea.
Yeah. So I knew it was going to be a special picnic then. So those are all your classic picnic foods left over: fried chicken, potato salad, and then watermelon rind. I'm big into using all of the watermelon when you have it, especially nowadays. We have some beautiful Louisiana watermelons. So watermelon rind French toast is in here, and you got to
go to that page in a minute.
Crazy and they're like, what?
Watermelon rind French toast.
Some of these
sounds disgusting.
See, exactly. But think about, and they mentioned it in Register, think about with Elvis's, his sandwich that he came up with peanut butter and bananas. And at the time, I'm sure everybody
peanut butter banana sandwiches.
But at the time, probably went, that's crazy. Why would you do that?
That's a good point.
So that was here. So I'll go to that. And then I have To Meemaw's House We Go, which has the Southern classics, and then a Little Something Sweets, one more sliver of the pie. Because you notice when you're at a party and somebody says, would you like another piece of pie? Or, no, I'm okay. Well, give me one more sliver. And then they, it's a whole big slice. So it's
you remember Diane Deet was so, one more little sliver, just a sliver. Yeah. She would eat 3 pieces of pie in slivers and think we love you, Diane.
Exactly.
So, okay, tell me about this French toast.
I'm not going to give away all my secrets, but
you got to buy the book.
You have to buy the book to get it. I also have peanut butter and jelly chicken legs, which is one of those.
Peanut butter and jelly what?
Chicken legs. See, it's another one of those crazy. You do peanut butter and bananas. But you think about, like I said, breaking it down. So you have wonderful peanut sauces you can make using peanut butter. You think about grape jelly. A lot of people use it for glazing when they're barbecuing and stuff like that. There's famous meatballs that go around at all these holiday parties have the grape jelly in it. So that's what I'm saying. When you're repurposing leftovers, really start breaking it down with the flavor.
Well, that mint jelly that we all use on lamb.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And jelly, even if you go to fast food restaurants and stuff like that, and they throw a jelly pack in your bag and you don't want it, save it, because like you made chicken salad, a little bitty packet of jelly added into your chicken salad and the sandwich really brings it to life.
All right, so you're dancing all around this recipe.
I know. It was obvious. I don't want to give it away.
All right, you got to buy the book.
It's really easy. You pretty much do it the same way as you do French toast, but there's a little bit of prep work you have to do the night before for it, just so to bring out the crispiness of it. But it's great with maple syrup, and it's a treat for the kids. You know,
watermelon rind French toast.
Yeah, and if it's too childlike, I also have a watermelon rind granita in here with vodka or some gin that you can add too.
Hey, I didn't know you were getting into adult beverages in the book.
I do have some adult beverages in here, especially for the holiday classics. I have cranberry sauce mojitos, cranberry sauce cocktails, making a simple syrup out of the cranberry sauce.
What was something that you learned, or did you experience anything when you were preparing the book that was a little bit of a surprise to you, or that you actually learned for the first time, or?
You know, when I started my blog, it was really a method of me to remember some of the recipes that I did originally. But even the food waste then, and I challenge everybody to a 1 week food waste kind of challenge, that in your household, you save for 1 week in a separate bag all the food waste that you have. So when you go out to lunch and you have bring those leftovers home, and if you end up don't eat them, put all the food in the separate bag. And then after that week, look at that bag, at the amount of food waste, and then translate that into money. Because, you know, out of sight, out of mind, it's easy to forget about how much we're throwing away. So I conduct food waste workshops throughout the state for different organizations and that. And one of the things I do is I stand up there with a gallon of water. And I say, okay, well, what happens if I had 25 gallons of water and I just sat here and poured them all down the drain? And of course, no, you can't do that. But have you ever thrown away one apple? Because throwing away one apple is equal to 25 gallons of water that is wasted in that apple. So just to have that awareness and the appreciation. So really doing this book, the thing, I mean, I knew it, but it really made me look at things in new light. You know, even like that last hush puppy that I used to bring home, which I still bring home if I have one hush puppy left. Bring the hush puppy home, crumble it up over green beans, you know, for a little treat, or put it on some soup. But just to have that true appreciation, and just writing the book and writing about food waste, you know, recognizing the whole process, you know, the farmers that grow the food, the factory workers that are there, the truck drivers, you know, the store clerk who's stocking the shelves and getting everything, just to have that new appreciation for the other person that was responsible for getting this food to us to consume.
Well, we're a very spoiled, pompous country. I mean, we really are. We're a wasteful country. I hate to say that.
We are very wasteful. In fact, I say this world of overabundance is slowly killing our world. Because just like the apple, we don't think twice. We throw it in the trash can. But what happens if, and we go to the next door, tomorrow, the next door, we go grab another apple. We come home, there's all these apple varieties. But what happens knowing if you threw away that apple, you couldn't go to the store the next day and get an apple? Wouldn't that change the way you would see that apple?
Well, the pandemic made a lot of us think about, oh my gosh, what if I couldn't get this?
Exactly.
What if I couldn't get toilet paper? What if I couldn't get gasoline? What if I couldn't get an apple or some things to make my family their meal?
Right.
I mean, that kind of, if you really lay there on the couch and think about that for a minute or three, that'll scare you to death.
Yeah, it would. And you know, and that, a few times some of these recipes in here actually came out of things like that. We had a house in North Carolina. We got snowed in one time, and I couldn't go to the store, and I was like, what can I make? And it was like, you know, shopping in the cupboard, looking at the cupboard, what leftovers we have, and really turning it into something. And you're right, with the pandemic getting out, but also the cost of food nowadays, the cost. So we really have to look at items that you can stretch. So when I have on here, go-to supplies to have. I like to use supplies that have multiple uses, you know, so you're getting a thing of tortillas, and I only buy stuff that can be frozen, so it's not going to go to waste. So you have tortillas. Okay, you got plenty. You think about all the possibilities, the wraps and the quesadillas and that, but also chips. If you want chips, you got the tortillas there. So it's really thinking outside the ice box on things.
But you know, we were talking, and this just hit me just this second. I was just talking about, you know, what if you couldn't get, if you lay on the couch and think about that. There are people in this world, in certain countries and communities, that's their life. That's their Monday through Sunday life.
Yep. And at the restaurant, you know, I'd leave at night knowing all this food, that we had to drag the trash can out to the thing, and then drive by houses knowing that in these houses a percentage of people that were probably in there who are going to bed hungry because they don't have any food to eat.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is it a fault of the restaurants for loading our plates too much, or is it a fault of how we've all gotten to, you know, the supersize everything? I mean, when you look at a large Coke at McDonald's, for instance, it's this big. A large Coke was what is a medium Coke now. Actually, it's a small Coke now. Was the large Coke when I was growing up.
You're absolutely
so
right.
where is? I mean, how can we change the like going back to the restaurants? You know, they give you so much food, most of them, and you're so excited.
Yeah.
But you leave either without taking it, or you take it, leave it in the refrigerator for a week, and you go, it's time, it's garbage day tomorrow, I got to throw this out.
Right. And one thing I recommend in the book is to carry a little insulated bag in your car. So when you do have restaurant leftovers, ask the restaurant for a little cup of ice or something. Most of them will give it to you. If not, it'll be a minimal, charge. But it's like you're also saving food like that. But it's true with the what you were saying in the beginning, just about saving the food, and I lost my train of thought real quick there. You had a good point. So, okay, about the size. So the sizes of it, you're right. And I think for one, at the restaurant where I was for a minute, we tried to change the plate size and go down, and it was the same amount of salad and everything. It was just different, but everybody thought they were getting cheating out of the salad instead of the thing. But that's one thing that I did personally in our household when I did the food waste challenge to see the amount of food waste. 8 years ago or 9, was I changed our dinner plate size. So dinner plate sizes have gone up, like you said, from, I mean, even if you look at that picture of me when I was little, my plate that I had. And so that was the first thing I did, because I had these big, beautiful, deep plates, but I felt the need of when I was serving dinner, you want the plate to be full. We have that, we eat with our eyes thing.
And then I'm older than you, but it was like, clean your plate, or you can't go out and play.
Exactly.
Eat everything on your plate.
Exactly.
But with a baby, when they're full, they stop eating.
Right.
Smarter
than we are.
Hey, continue. So you changed the dinner plate size.
I changed my dinner plate size, and I just went to a smaller plate size, and I found, one, I wasn't getting as full because I didn't have this big plate there, but also, two, we weren't wasting. When I made plates for, guests if they came over and that, I wasn't wasting anything. And even that, having a dinner party, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like it, the formality of it, but I like to have people serve themselves, because there may be something they don't like, and there may be something they're not really crazy about, they want something more, instead of putting on there the same for everybody, and then you're going to have food waste at the end.
Yeah, you and I are a lot alike in that respect, because I don't want to, they'll feel like they're going to insult you if they don't eat that, but I don't like that,
right.
But they'll force it down or whatever. I do the same thing. It's like, here's the utensils and the plates, and help yourself.
Yeah.
That's why. And it's interesting to watch what people go back for seconds. Sometimes you think, oh, they're going to hate this, and then it's nothing left over, or vice versa.
Right. Right. Yeah. And that was one of the recipes in here. I remember I was at a party, and it was this casserole. It was like sweet potatoes and apples, and it had all kind of stuff. And I was like, it was the first time I've ever had something like that. So I was like, I don't, thank you. And then I was like, well, let me try a little bit. And then when I went back, I plopped it on my plate, and now it inspired one of the recipes.
But you could serve yourself. You didn't have to get this big heaping serving and go,
and not do it.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, so remind us again about where we can purchase the book, number one.
Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Walmart, or you can go to my website, makeovermyleftover.com.
And when is your book signing?
July 23rd, Perkins Row, Barnes & Noble, from 2 to 4, and that's where Dr. Tom Quaid will be joining me.
And his awesome retired cardiologist here in Baton Rouge that you may know. I'm going to, while you and I continue to talk, I'm going to move this camera, because I want to turn this camera over. We have your website on our side screen here, and it is so cool. And this is, he did this for you as well. That
is my logo for my business, which is Makeover My Leftover there.
All right, let's see if I can get it centered in the screen here. Well, I'm not a good camera operator, but this is a one-man band operation.
When I was cooking here for y'all, I was dubbed the mad scientist of leftovers. So it's kind of like, I look at my whisk there. It's not really like a magic wand, but it's my whisk that I use as a magic wand to transform those leftovers.
That is awesome. I'm so excited for you, and so excited for the book, Makeover My Leftover, Lagniappe Leftovers. And again, get the book, because it will it'll save you a lot of time.
And like today is National Pecan Pie Day, and in the book I have over 20 different ways that you could use. I don't want to say leftover pie, because when I say that, people call me crazy. There's no such thing as leftover pie. But what about excess pie, or that last slice of pie?
See, and you'll bring up a good point, because when I think of leftovers and making them into something, I never think desserts.
Right. I had a whole chapter of a little something sweet in there. And even leftovers, some of these recipes are really not only with leftover, but they're so budget friendly to make. So even if you go to some of these, go get a cup of jambalaya from somewhere, you can feed your family still for under $10 with that. Or a
so
cup of
important in this day and age when everything is outrageous. And Suzanne, you've been a great guest as you always are, and I'm so excited that we're back in person now, and things are kind of getting back to normal. But what a great idea for a book. I think this is the first time I've ever heard of a book where recipes are all about making something fresh from leftovers.
Fresh. They do have some wonderful other books out there about leftovers, but it's pretty much like saying, okay, here's how we're going to make a roasted chicken, and let's use the roasted chicken. Where mine is, I think, more of a practical stage of you already made everything. We had the red beans and rice, the gumbo, and what can I do with it? And in the picnic in the park, I have where you take, if you have one piece of leftover fried chicken, on making a whole pot of soup for your family. Breaking that whole chicken down from the bones for the stock and the skin. Oh goodness, if you like bacon bits, imagine a bacon bit and a crackling that combined. Yeah, comes out perfect.
Yeah, I don't have to imagine that. I live it.
You're gonna start working out and you'll be good. All in moderation.
I'm so excited about this book, and it's such a and plus with the leftovers, the leftover meal prep is not going to be near as much as the time, I would think, but with the original meal, like you said, most of it's done.
Prep work's already done, so that's a time saver right there. And another a tip, a lot of people say, oh, let's go to the store and let's do one big grocery shopping trip. I don't endorse that, actually, because a lot of the food waste nowadays, life gets in the way. For instance, you plan on making spaghetti meatballs tonight, but you got stuck at work. By the time you get home, it gets pushed to the side. Or you forget about your child's soccer game in the day, so you order a pizza, and then it goes on. And so I don't like to do that. I like to take the week. If you want to take it by the week, look what you have already and use up what you have. And in the freezer, keep an inventory on the sheet. So I have an inventory sheet on my freezer. So I know by looking in exactly what I have. So one, I'm saving energy. I don't have to open up the freezer and sit there, what do I have? And I can keep a tally of it and will know when I'm ready to repurpose my leftovers.
Have you ever gotten any backlash from any of the people that are enjoying the meals? Like, oh, this is a leftover made over or whatever.
My brother, who you saw in the picture, he is not a leftover lover at all. So that's kind of when, I started, when we lived together for a while back in college, and he would be like that. If I cooked something, he was strict no leftovers. So I would totally have to transform it where he wouldn't know. And then, oh man, these are great stuffed peppers and and secret was safe with me.
That is so funny. Any closing thoughts? I want to make sure we cover everything. I definitely wanted to promote the book. Get the in register. Is it the current issue? Is it the July?
The current issue, the July issue that's on the newsstands right now. Yeah.
Great article about this. And again, the 24th, Barnes & Noble. Right. At City Place? At
Perkins Road. We did City Place already. We're going to be at Perkins Road from 2 to 4. And I am such a leftover lover, and it's my passion to help people save. So if you have a leftover question, I always tell people, reach out for me. Help. My family doesn't want to eat this again because there's so many other leftover recipes that I have. And I'm a night thinker, so be prepared. You might get some added recipes like the next day.
I like that. And there's our website, makeovermyleftover.com.
And Make My Leftover on Instagram and Twitter as well.
There you go. So very good. Susanne Duplantis, you are always a joy. Thank you so much for coming in.
I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for staying with us on the Ahysen Nation. This will also be available for rebroadcast on WAFB Plus, available on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning on the 9 News this morning. Whoops, hold it up again. Let's go back to it. There you go, Lanyap Leftovers. Go look for that at Barnes & Noble's and look for her on the 24th at Perkins Row. Susan, thanks again.
Thanks.
All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow on 9 News this morning. 4:30 is when we start for a midweek Wednesday. Have a great Tuesday, everybody.